Hey everyone, as you can see, I'm not at my regular shooting desk, but instead I am at my woodworking bench. That's the word I was looking for. And the reason I'm here is, well, because I'm going to show you today how to make a hand crank lapidary wheel. Really?
I find a stone and take it home and polish it and hope it shines, and also there's a chicken.
Hey everyone, this is Clayton. And like I said, I'm going to show you how to make a hand crank lapidary wheel. And I thought about doing this before, and the difference between using a hand-powered one and just doing it by hand with sandpaper is pretty much the same, but it is a little bit easier at times to have some type of machine to do the lapidary work. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this thing. I'm going to show you how to make it, and it is not very expensive. I mean, for like 70 bucks you can make this thing. And if you have stuff laying around the house, some of the pieces like some scrap wood and whatnot, you could probably get away with making it even less expensive. But that's not the point. The point is we're making a hand crank, hand powered lapidary wheel, and you can turn it from a hand crank to a foot powered, or even make it electrical powered if you want to, using like the same principle. But okay, I'm going off subject here. We're going to do this hand crank lapidary wheel. And stuff you need, like I said, if you have some wood laying around, you can use that. There are a few things you're going to need. The main thing is these. Okay. These are pillow block bearings. Okay. And you can pick these up on Amazon for around $20 for 4 of them. Now you can pick up just 2. I mean, to make the wheel, we need 2. You can pick them up for like $17, $18. But no, I'm sorry, it's like $24 for these, for the 4 of them. Because I used the other 2 to fix the other lapidary machine that I bought. And for the couple dollar difference to buy 4 of these compared to 2 of these, I might as well have bought the 4. So I had 2 extras to lay around, because I figured I'm going to use them anyway. So what you need is these. And because when I ordered these, I needed ones with a 5/8 inch shank, I'm going to be using a 5/8 inch bolt. Okay. Now, if anybody's a machinist out there, or has other lapidary machines, or in clay, these things aren't milled down to be precise. Well, you're right. They're not milled down to be precise, but they are close enough that they're going to fit in this 5/8, or in these 5/8 pillow block bearings. Okay, so you need a 5/8 bolt, 2 nuts, and 2 washers. That's about it. Okay, let me get that unscrewed. And you might notice that there's a hole in here, and I had drilled that through this for another project. So I'm just recycling this bolt. Okay, now we're going to make this, since it's a 5/8 inch bolt, we're going to need a flat lap. And you probably remember seeing this flat lap before. Okay, I think this is Jingling, and their flat laps are not really bad. I mean, they're cheap. I mean, these I believe I picked up for around $15. Now you can buy these on Amazon, cheap flat laps, for anywhere from $9.99 up. Okay, and these have the 5/8 R brand, if you notice. Okay, that is very. Let's see if I can get this so you can see. That's pretty close to being right on. There's a maybe Oh, I don't even know. There's not even a 30. Might be able to see the light coming through. There's maybe a 64th of an inch play in that. But it's not going to matter because we're not going to be cranking this at 3,800 RPMs. Okay, so we need these, or this, and this, and this, and we're going to need 2x6. Okay, so if you have anything around you, have some plywood laying around that you can stack this up, cut these into pieces and stack it up to the height you need. I have, this is actually the same 2x6 that was cut. So I have the pieces. If you want to, you can, well, if you don't have this, you can go to Home Depot. Home Depot sells square edge cut 2x6, 4-foot long, 2x6 square edge cut for under $5. And that's with the crazy price of lumber that's right now. So this is not really a very expensive piece. This isn't too expensive. These aren't too expensive. And the bolts are like, the bolt's like $1 something. And the nuts and washers come to like $2. So this is basically all you need. Oh yeah, and this also helps. This is a grinding wheel. This came with the Rikon grinders that I bought to turn into my regular lapidary machine. And you can pick these up 6 or 8 inch at Lowe's for around $8 to $10, I believe. And like I said, this is a 6-inch one, and I know this is a 6-inch lapidary wheel. You can pick up the 6-inch ones for under around $7. And I believe the 8-inch ones are just a little more expensive. I could be wrong, but you only really need a 6 if you're making it a 6-inch. If you're making it an 8-inch, then you'll have to get this. And I don't think the price is that much different. Okay, so here's the tools that we need. So let's get started with this. All right, since we have this set up just like this here, I'm just going to turn this to the side. Essentially what we're going to have is these two buggers, okay, with this passing through them. And I'm saying, dude, that's not going to fit on there real well. Right. No, it's not. It's going to go right through. So that's why we have 2 bolts. Okay, and this bolt is, threads are a little buggered up. So we're going to put this here nut on there, like that. Take that right down to the end. And even though it's on the threaded part, okay, it's going to set well enough that it's not going to bother you or affect its performance if, okay, you see what you got? Okay, you got a little bit of wobble on there. You can probably see that. Can you see that little bit of wobble? Okay, a little bit of wobble. It's not going to bother it because it's not going at 800 or 800. Not going at 3,800 RPMs. Okay, and even if, I think this flat lap's a little bit bent. But it really does not matter because you're not going fast. If it was going fast, that would be an issue. Okay, so what we need to do is have this set. And I have a piece cut here somewhere. Beep. I have this piece cut. Okay, this is a piece of 1x. I was originally going to make it like this with the 1x on top. And this is a piece of 1x6. You see, it's the same width as the 2x6. And what this does is it gives you clearance. It gives you enough clearance for the 6-inch blade to fit on. Okay, great. But if you're don't have the material and you buy the 2x6, you might as well make it all out of the 2x6. So as you saw a minute ago, the 2x6 takes it up gives you enough room to actually put the 8-inch wheel on there with a minimal amount of clearance. And you can use the 8-inch wheel as a backing plate. And look what you got. Actually, I took a little bit of the wobble out. Wobble this way. Up and down wise this way, it doesn't seem to wobble much. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts and the nitty gritty of all of this here putting together. And we'll set Mr. Wheel over there. And bring this here down here and go back to this. What we need to do is we need to cut this piece, and I forget the measurement. 4 inches. 4 inches. Boom, ba-doom. All right. So we will cut a piece of, well, getting ahead of myself here. We got this 4 inches because what's going to happen, we're going to set this one here like so. And these pillow block bearings have, might be able to see it, there's some Allen screws here that tighten this up around the smooth part of the shaft. Okay, and we need to give ourselves enough room for this to hang out over so it doesn't interfere with this at all, and give us enough room this side to put a hand crank on. All right, so you start to see what's going down here now. So what we're going to do, instead of using this 4-inch piece of 1x4, we're going to use a 4-inch piece of 2x6. So what we're going to do now is cut a 4-inch piece off of here. So if this was you had the 4-footer, it'd be attached on there like that. You're going to cut yourself a 4-inch piece off, and I'm going to measure that to be certain. I know that this end is square. I've already squared that up. So, oh yeah, that's a weird cut. So here's 4 inches. I'm going to mark 4 inches and get the speed square of destiny out here. Okay, there's your 4 inches. And now, set this to the side. I'm going to cut this here off. Okay. And to cut that, I'm going to put be a little bit easier so you can see. I'm going to clamp this down. Okay, and if you don't have these tools, you don't really need a clamp. You don't need this fancy Nancy workbench. You need a saw. Boing, can you hear? Okay, this is Harbor Freight pool saw. Costs about $8, and it works actually pretty darn good. I was tickled when I picked this up. See, so I'm going to cut this off, and we shall be right back. Okay, as you can see, that makes a pretty nice cut. Pretty nice cut for an $8 pool saw. Okay. Now that's going to be our mounting piece. Okay, I want to try to figure out a width there that would give us enough room for clearance on this end. And oh darn it, let me set this on top of there because I can't do it without being up in the air. Up in the R. Up in there. In the R and R. Okay, so we can get that actually fairly close to the wall here and give us good clearance on this side to make the handle. And that gives us at least 1.25 inches to make the handle for that. Okay, so I'm not going to attach this to anything yet because we have a little bit more sawing to do. Now, the reason what we're going to do is I'm going to make this to mount onto this, actually. And it'll be able to mount onto my regular shooting table. And I'll have to put a clamp on it to mount it, but it's going to be setting like this. Okay? And then the handle will be here. Well, I'm not going to be able to fit that handle on there because this is in the way. So now we have to rip a piece down this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this piece. And this piece is 14¼ inches. All right? And you may ask, why is it 14¼ inches? Because that's the length I had, and I'm not going to bother to cut it any shorter. You can look at whatever table you're going to put it on, put yours on, and decide what length you want to cut it. And the reason we want it longer, and if I seem like I'm explaining it boneheaded simple, it's because maybe somebody out there is not mechanically inclined and doesn't see what I'm doing, or doesn't see why I'm doing a certain thing, or you don't know. So I'm just explaining it bonehead simple. We're going to cut this length. Well, I'm leaving it this long so that I have room to clamp. Okay, I'm going to clamp this with the clamp. I'm going to be able to clamp this down to the table when it's all done, and that's going to hold it there. I mean, just one clamp actually holds that pretty darn sturdy. Excuse me. You'll be able to fit two on here, I'm sure, but need something far enough away that when we say this is our handle isn't so long that it smacks into where we're clamping it. So it's got to be, long enough that we're not going to hit it with the handle when we start hand cranking it. That's the word I was looking for. Man, I can't talk today. All right, so what we need to do next is to rip this piece to this width. And we made this 4 inches, so we're going to rip this piece down to 4 inches. Okay, and you see I want to get the best part of this and cut the worst part away, so I think maybe this direction. We'll eliminate. Yeah, I think I'll cut it on this side. So I'm going to mark this at 4 inches. I'm going to mark this at 4 inches. And I need a straight edge. Why didn't I bring a straight edge? Okay, here's your handy dandy straight edge, which is another piece of wood I have laying around because I can't find my long ruler. Okay, so there we have marked at 4 inches. Now we have to make a long rip cut. Okay, so I'm going to cut this now, and believe me, I'm going to cut it. You don't need to see that. All right, wow, I got that cut. I took a little bit, and no, I did not sneak out to the other shed and cut it on the bandsaw. No. You can shut up. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to, what we need to do is we need to attach this to there. And the reason I have it at the edge of the workbench is because, well, it's got to be at the edge of the workbench so that the handle will go. Okay. So now you can see what's coming together here. So that's about what we're going to have. And this is going to attach there. Yeah, and there you have it. So we are going to attach this to this. And I think I'm going to do that from the bottom. Okay, and we're going to get some screws and... Oh, are you kidding me? Let's see. There we go. Honestly, I love these cordless drills, but after a while the batteries just don't last, and it drives me nuts. I'll put this on here and get an idea where the attachment things are going to be, so that we do not put the screws anywhere near them, because that would be a pain. Okay, so I'm going to pre-drill the holes and then put these screws in, which are going to go almost through. Okay, you can see they're almost going to go through, but that's the only ones I have right now. So we don't want to countersink them too much. I'm going to countersink them just a little bit so that they don't go scratching up the countertop. Okay, so I'll go right there, right there, right there, and right there. Okay. Okay. Now we have a beautifully attached base. Beautifully attached. And I'm going to say it again. Beautifully attached. We're going to throw a clamp on here. Show that that's actually going to hold, fairly well. And we can always put some sort of like shelf liner on the bottom here. That will help hold it in place too. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is mount our bearings. Okay, and pretty much we want to take them right to the edge. We could, whenever we get them to the edge, we can adjust this, because we have this whole thickness of the bolt right here. Okay, for play back and forth. Give us more room here for a handle if we need to. So the wider we put the bearings, the more stable it's going to be, even though it's not going to be going fast. So I'm going to try to mark pretty much the center of these holes. These holes are kind of oblong. Yeah, I got shakes today. I shake a lot. Now, I got some screws that I'm going to attach this down with. Should be some lags. Wait, where did I put those? Okay. This is what happens when you don't look inside the box that says lag bolts, and it's not lag bolts. So we've got our marks marked. So always make sure what's in the box that you think is the box, so you don't have to hunt around for stuff that you didn't think you'd have to hunt around for. But if everything went off easy, what fun would that be? Okay, so I'm going to pre-drill. Okay, we don't need these. Oh, I don't want that one there, actually. Actually, maybe I do want that one there. Okay, the lag bolts I thought I would just have to put a washer on them. But with these, the washers I have, the heads of the big screws fit down through, so I have to put a lock washer on to go over top of the washer. So it works just fine, but is somewhat annoying. If things went off easy all the time, what fun would life be? It would be a lot easier. but you wouldn't have any stories to tell. I mean, how good is a story? I made a machine once, and it worked fine right off the bat. Yeah, that's about as exciting as watching cheese mold. Meanwhile, you could be saying, I watched a video of this guy making a hand crank machine, and it looked like something out of Monty Python. But he did get it made after a while. Though he talked to a chicken the whole time, and that was sort of questionable. Okay, now, all I need is the Phillips screwdriver that's hidden underneath all the other crap. Yeah, could I got a longer Phillips? I don't know. I could look and see if I can find one. Oh, that one's tight. Oh, that one's tight. Let me see. That one's not so tight. Now it's tight. If anyone is OCD about the way these washers are circled around there, you're welcome. So, now we have a fairly strongly mounted and fairly good spinning do-wangy thingy. Okay. So, if you want to see what we've got coming together here so far, this is pretty much what we've got coming together here so far. And, is it still, yeah, okay. Sorry that it's not like centered in the picture, because if I had it centered over here and centered in the picture, you know, you'd be staring down my stomach the whole time, and yeah, that just don't make for good videos. Now, let's just tighten this up a little bit. As you can see, we still got a little bit of that wobble in there, but I think some of that will come out. Okay, so now we're pretty much to where we need to make the handle. Now, this is the only part that's going to be a little bit on the tricky side. Okay, now you can actually buy a round circular handle thingy with a knob on it. You know, you can pick them up on Amazon with a 5/8 inch shank that you could slide right over here. Put that on. But I don't have that. And that actually has some Allen screws so we can set and tighten it up. But we're going to have to do something different. Okay, so we're going to have to get that loose on there. Good grief, that's tight. You know, and if your table, if you're making this, I just wanted to bring this up. If you're making this and your table, you can't get to like the edge, like the way this bench is set up, it's easy for me to make it this way. You could put it right on the edge like that. But if your bench is, or table, is not easily accessed to the edge, you could just easily make this 3 high. Okay. And put your, you know, that was stupid. You could make this 3 high, put an extra 4-inch block here, and then put your long block this way. Set your thingy that direction, and just make a shorter handle that you could crank here, and then you could clamp, you know, this could be this long, and this could be out to here, and you could clamp it here and here to the table. And then a smaller crank to do your twisty-turny thingy, okay? So if you're wondering about that, that's easily how you could do that. Okay, now we got to make a handle. And we're going to make the handle out of this piece that I ripped off of here, you know, like that. And the piece I did not rip off on the bandsaw out in the other shed. You can still shut up. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be out to the edge. So this handle, I'm going to make this two-sided. It doesn't have to be super long. It doesn't have to be like this long, because you're going to have to crank out like this. I don't know if you can see it, but you probably made it so that it would just clear the table, so you would have this much cranky room. So I'm going to make it just a bit longer than the table, and I'm going to make it, okay, let's see, here's where approximately I want that. Okay, so right about, oh yeah, no, this is precise measuring here. There's the top. Let me yank that. What happened here? Okay, that was the top. So I'm going to find the center, which is pretty much the center's right there. Okay, and I'm going to precision mark this, this outside. See how precision marked that was? And let's find a center. I got my super duper straight edge here. Luckily, we have all kinds of corners to go off of. So you can go corner to corner to corner, and that ain't even remotely square to where the corner is. What I need is something a little more precise. So I'm going to put this on here like so. I'm going to use this knife to make some cuts, which will give me a much better, because we're going to need that much more precision marking here in a moment anyway. So now we have much more precise corner to corner measurement, and I'm going to actually use that to make my corner to corner measurements. There's a mark for the center. You see, there's another corner to corner. A little bit difficult to see, and I hope my head's not in the way. Okay. Pretty much right there is the centered of centeriness, somewhat centered. Okay, so what we need to do is get a 5/8 hole drilled in there. And I got some drill bits here. The drill bits of destiny. And I think one of these actually is about the right size. What I'm going to do first is drop stuff on the floor. Need a sacrificial piece of wood. Oh, good God. Sacrificial piece of wood here. I can drill through. There we go. Oh, I'm drilling on low speed. No wonder it's kind of not drilling correctly. Right now we need 5/8. So I think this is that's not a 5/8. I think this might be a 5/8. No, well, you know, this is not quite the width of that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because it's actually, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna drill through this with this drill bit. We're going to see how small this is to that, which is exceedingly small, and it's not going to work, which I knew, but we needed to drill through. Anyway, this, I think, is, yeah, I think this is my 5/8. Yeah. See, that's why you drill first in a sacrificial piece. The see how it's going to work. Oh. And don't tell me this battery's going wonky on me too. Aha! It's always a good idea to clamp stuff down so you don't end up tearing your fingers off. This wood here is fir, and it's kind of soft. And, oh, there. Yeah, that's what we need. See, that's kind of fitting tight. That is what we want. Aha! How! Gee, God! Okay. That was not planned. Just in case you wondered. Now when I drill this out, I'm going to clamp it down to the, can everybody see? Nope. Can I see that way? Nope. So I'm going to set this down yonder. I'm going to clamp this so I can do this in a way that won't wonk myself up too badly. Now I'm going to drill several holes to get up to that size. Okay? Done. Okay, we are through. And look at that. Oh yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted it to be tight. Yeah, other wood, this sacrificial piece that I was using, this is fir. This is white pine. Fir is a beautiful wood to make things out of, but it's somewhat softer than white pine. The grain's a little bit wider. You can see the grain here compared to this. So it will catch. Okay, and this is squeaky noisy. Okay, once the threads get through there. Wow, that does. Come on, threads. Okay, we are through. Okay, we want it to be tight. Oh, look at that. That is pretty darn tight. So what we get here now, allow me to clamp this back on. Ha ha ha, ouch, that hurts. So what we have now, we put this through, is a handle, which hits the clamp. That's why I made that long. But I'm going to be shortening the clamp up. So here's what we got, see? See, my hole's not very straight. But, looky there. That's what we wanted. Beautiful. But, you can see, we've got to get... You see the problem? It's too wide. Hold on. I knew it was going to be too wide. So how wide's it got to, how unwide does it have to be? Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to cut this into that. Okay, so this comes down, this goes over yonder. And that is like, whew. Okay, so we need a sharp pencil, which we do not have. So I'm going to take this scriber of scribiness, and we see what's going on here. Oh, I'm going to have to bring it over here. So I am going to make some deep cuts around the edge of this. When you're doing this, be careful you don't slice off and slice your fingers. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down into it. And all you're going to need is a chisel and a hammer. cuts go long so I can see the darn things. And then I shall... oh, wow, that's really tight. That is what you want. You want it to be nice and tight. Whew. Okay, so see here. Really need a sharp pencil. I guess I could sharpen this thing. Okay, one sharpening later. This line, these lines that I cut in, these are the lines of destiny. And you don't have to cut it very deep. You only have to cut it in probably as deep as that. So let's just pull this up here rather quickly. Okay, so if this is cut into even just the depth of this, I have to put this one in. Where in the world did it's... yeah, oh, it's on the floor. Okay, for it to clear, see, it's got to be cut in pretty much flush. Will give us actually plenty of room. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it out. We're going to leave this out just a little bit. Okay, and I'll show you why. Okay, so let's get all of this here on. I can just, no, we're going to need this. This will be down there, this will be down there. We do not need these drill, well, we may need these drill bits because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to attach that, and you'll understand why in a minute. Hopefully I will too. Okay, so we're going to just take and we're going to cut this down in. Now, if you don't have, you know what, I'm not going to use this vise. I'm going to just attach this to the, clamp this down with the clamps of destiny. And then chisel that baby out. If you're wondering, why does he have the clamps turned that way? It's like, well, because if I have these ends sticking up, I know I'm going to stuff my face into them. And I don't want to do that. So, let's get to work on this here. I got a small chisel. Ooh, that's just about the right size. All right. And I have this precision mallet here. Ain't that a precision mallet? So I'm going to start cutting that. I'm going to go around these edges, and I'm going to be cutting a little bit on the inside of that cut mark, because I don't want that hole to be wide. I want that hex head to fit nice and tight. Okay. Had to pull out the other chisels because that one was older than dirt and dull as cheese. So let's see here. Okay, we've got, okay, that's just about where we want it. Got a little bit out. Not quite the whole way in, not quite the whole way out. So let's get all this stuff put away. This is the brother of the box of rocks that locks. Okay, so let's this through there. Urgh. Oh, that's nice and tight. Ow. That finger still hurts a little bit. Okay, we are. Okay, so. Sorry about the loudness. Okay, now we've got that pretty much in there. Let me hit this off camera a little bit. Okay, that's not coming out anytime soon. But before I fasten it in there, put some of this stuff away. Let us pull this up and see if that's going to give us enough room to do what we need to did. And it's not. Well, darn anyway. Well, maybe it will. Let's put this on. You just need to have enough room for the handle to fit past. Why is it sticking? It's sticking because that was stuck there. That's why. So we do not have enough room. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim this down from about 1/2 inch off of it. As you can see, it wasn't drilled perfectly square, so it's going this way. But anyway, it would still need about, 1/2 inch cut off of it. So you may be doing this too when you're doing it, trying to get. I thought for sure that I would have enough room with 1.5 inches, but it should be down to about 1 inch. Okay, so we're gonna, might be a good idea to, when you cut this down on your handsaw, to trim this down to 1 inch. So let's trim this down to 1 inch. And I shall be back after I do not go and cut this on the bandsaw. Okay? And I'm back. And when you do this, make sure you don't cut off the side that you cut in for the bolt, which I was very close to doing. I'm like, oh my God, no. So let's pull this shear back out. Put this shear back in the wrong side and switch it around here. I'll do a little wacky. Oh, and look what we have now. We have clearance. Beautiful clearance. Okay, and this seems about the right length, so I'm going to cut this off. We are approximately something I can't measure. They're 4 and about 7/8 inches to the center of the bolt, and my pencil is going. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, 4 7/8, so there's about center, there's 4 7/8. Right yonder. And I'll do it the right way and even square that off. And we shall cut the shear off. is happening here? Okay, I'm gonna have to get one of these set screws is falling down a little bit and not letting the bolt go through. See, that's all it took. Okay, so if we put this right on the edge, put the super clamp of destiny on here. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Look what we've got. We are almost done. Woo! I'll probably leave that one there. So I'm going to put a second super clamp of destiny. Make sure that's holding down pretty good. Yep. So we can actually probably set this screw in place. Of course, no, we don't want to because we have to build the rest of this handle. Okay, but now you see we've got plenty of room. And even as it sets, let me just tighten this up one or two up just a hair so we can give it a trial run. Even as it sets right now, and do I have a, yep, I got a stone on a stick. Look at what we got. Look at that. That is, by any sense of the word, very usable. And put this on as a backer because this is not very sturdy. You need some sort of backer for on that. Boom. Okay. Now we actually have the weight of that wheel to help move it. See the difference? Ooh, wow. Now you don't want to do this dry, of course. And they're sort of like, if you get like a medium-sized blade here, medium grit, you can always get a coarser grit for this and use this part of the wheel too. And to be totally honest, you could put a regular lapidary wheel on this. Okay? You know, the round ones like I use. You could put that on, because it doesn't take much to change these. See? If they were thick, you could take that lapidary wheel right off, put another one on, boom. And you are set. A little bit of a drip system, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, now you might be saying, but how are you going to keep that handle on? Because it might eventually wear off. Well, yeah, it will. And we also have to put a tourney crank on there. Did I get all of them? Oh, yeah, well, I got to take that off too. Good grief. Okay. Now, the reason I said we're going to let this out a little bit, actually, this could be what we could use. Depending on how flexible this is. Okay, we could put this across here, or even a thinner piece. A thinner piece, or even a piece of metal. Wait, I think I have something that would work for that. Done. Okay, I don't have a piece of metal. So let's just say no one has a piece of metal, and we're going to use this. Okay, so we're going to cut ourselves a piece of this off and undo this. Yes, undo that. If you would happen to have a small, thin piece of wood at home, you could use that. Okay. We're going to take precise measurements on this. First, I don't want that end on there because it's gnarly. So let's find ourselves a non-gnarlied end. Alrighty, what we have here is a lack of short screws. Okay, these here are going over top of these here. Oh, well, I need to drill. Right, now I'm just going to tighten these down just to where they're nice and snug, putting some pressure on that bolt. Now you see, that's all we needed. I should have actually countersunk these. Why I didn't? Oh, great, look at that. That's where I was getting sticky from. There's pitch. Spot of pitch in the wood. And now that is definitely not coming out. Like I was saying, if you had a small piece of metal, which I should have got, you could put that on there, and that's going to keep that in place. And you're not going to have enough pressure on there. You're going to strip this out. Okay, so now we got to put a handle on there. And, oh, bugger. Okay. I had this setting somewhere and I didn't know where I'd set it. But this is definitely cut wrong. Oh, no, it's not cut wrong. Duh. Okay. This is going to go on here like so. Okay, I know it's not a very big handle, but I thought I had a longer bolt. And honestly, I thought I had a bigger piece of metal that would fit on here better. But hey, it's what happens when you don't plan out precisely the way you should. I like to call this building on the fly. You know, because if I get up here and do everything exactly perfect, where's the fun in that? You know? I think I went through this already, but where's the fun in that? So I'm going to try and drill through this, which is probably not going to work. Because my drill is about ready to die. And why would anything work right today? Well, maybe I'm lying. I lied. Wow, that's a little tight. I need a bigger piece. A bigger drill bit. So that would be... Yeah, that's hot. That would be the next size up. That seems like the same size as that. Yeah, well, that seems like the same size as that. Well, it's a little bit bigger apparently because it went through. Imagine that. How did that happen? Okay, so we're going to put this on here. So we shall give this right to the edge, which is about right to there. Okay, so we're going to drill in the center, which is right about there, and that's going to fall off. Okay. So that's going to go on there like that. And that's going to go, bolt's going to go on the end of there like that. And I am a flippin' idiot. Honest to God. And if this sticks out, we can just drill a little bit of a bigger hole back here and countersink that, because that's not going to be really a big issue. Okay, so this doesn't have to be able to twist. It doesn't have, it can be square. That is not extremely important. Okay. So let's put this on there. Actually, this handle is pretty much your preference. You may want a knob instead of a handle like this, so you can hold on to it like this. Because as I'm doing it right now, it's like, boy, I think a knob would be much better for that. So yes, we are going to have plenty of room. So we can bring that right to there. And that's, oh, actually, we can attach this now. I'll be darned. I don't think we have any more drilling to do. So let's put all this away. Let me clean the table off here. Okay, so it appears that we are down to where we can start using this, because it is pretty much made. So we shall clamp this to the table. Clamp number 1. Clamp number 2. And look what we have. Look at that. Yeah, I'm thinking a knob of sorts would be better, because I can grab it like this instead of, well, that might be okay too, depending on how long your bolt is. And I was going to tell you, you don't have to leave all these. Once you get this made, you can take this back apart, smooth all these up, you know, cut these edges down, sand it, and make it pretty. You know, this is just your basic, how it's going to look type thing. And then you can prettify it. So we can bring that into there. That'll give us plenty of clearance. And this is a 7/64 Allen wrench. Okay, that's what these particular ones used. It may vary. It may vary on yours if you get them. I don't know. So I'm going to tighten these up. Tighten this one. I might spin these so that they're all... Oh, actually, I should have them facing different parts of the bolt so that it holds better. Like I said, you know you're not going to be spinning this at 3,800 RPMs. But you still want it to be nice and tight. Okay, that's there, that's there. That's nice and tight there. That there's nice and tight. And hey. Alrighty, so this goes on here like so. This goes on here like so. This goes on here like so. And, well, so we're done. We have a very serviceable hand crank lapidary machine. And what you're saying, well, you need water for that. Well, yeah, you do. See what this is? This is the microphone swinging in the breeze. You're not going fast. You've seen when I've done these by hand on sandpaper, okay? You don't need a whole lot of water. Of course, the water is staying on the sandpaper, but look at this. Spray that down. Where is that? Oh, there's that. Okay, you've watered that. Okay, you're not going to need a tremendous amount of water on that. If you can see, I don't know if you can see real well because of the angle of the camera. No, you can't. But you can see the stone is wet. And you're not throwing off dust. You're not throwing off any sort of gobbledygook. You know, we've got water going down onto the bench, which, you know, you just need to put something down there. As a matter of fact, you know, just a piece of cardboard for right now. But you could put something to collect the water there. Even a towel would be fine. But right now, okay, apart from little elbow grease going here, there's no reason that this could not be a very usable lapidary machine. And even this part, I mean, you're looking down over it from the top, and you get the correct angle for me to see where I'm grinding. I actually like the way that goes. And you can see there's some pieces of the wheel coming off, but that is grinding. And if you want to, you could do it this way, which would be the normal fashion. I don't know if that's showing up. No, it's not showing up on the thing. You know what we can do? We can make it show up on there. Yes, it shows up on there now. Look at this. I can turn it this direction. If I had a regular lapidary, I'm pointing towards my machines there. Regular lapidary wheel with a tiny little drip system set up on here. I mean, drip systems are simple. You've got some kind of container with a valve that's as simple as a clothespin and a hose leading down to the wheel. You put a container underneath here, and hey, you've got yourself a finely usable lapidary wheel. And if you use it on this side, you still see, yeah, if you use it on this side, let me see if I can adjust this to just a hair without throwing everything out of whack. Yeah, there. That's not bad. Oh, there's no Oh, the light wasn't on. Darn it. How long's that been going on? Okay. So, here we go. Look at that. And the wheel has plenty of water on it because you're not going fast. You know, and it might take you a little bit, but hey, it still might be better than, you know, doing this by hand. And I definitely need just a little bit better handle than this. And like I said, now that we have it all made and everything's together as it should be, we can take these, you know, everything, this stuff, these apart, round these off, make them nice, decide what type of handle or knob we want here. And look, and there's no doubt this is a workable and quite usable piece of lapidary equipment. And I've used this thing, I can get it off this before. This is a hand crank grinder, which is essentially the same thing as this, except it's geared. Okay, and I make these wheels with the sandpaper on it, and it attaches to there. And with these flat laps, along with this, I'm going to show you how to make carbide, or make flat or cushioned laps out of these type of flat laps and carbide sandpaper. And those are very inexpensive. Okay, so right there you have your basic hand crank lapidary machine. And I got my super duper figuring pad here, and this cost, with everything here, about 64 bucks. But wait, there's more. Since if you would buy the two sets of these, which comes for like $25, okay, get yourself 2 of these wheels, 2 sets of bolts out of the same. You only have to buy one 2x6. Okay, get yourself another diamond, 2 of these diamond flat laps, and you could build 2 of these machines out of that 4-foot one, that 4-foot 2x6, for around 84. So you'd have 2 of these. You could set one of these up with this type of wheel and a coarser, maybe a finer diamond, and then set one up to use these padded ones. All for about 84 bucks. So regardless, here's your hand crank lapidary machine. So thanks for spending some time with me, and have a good evening.